What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. We are back for my team, episode number 8 for the Spanish Grand Prix. This intro might have a familiar feel. That is because we are post-commentating again. But before we get into that, we need to address the elephant in the room. Fernando Alonso has just announced his retirement from Formula One. At the end of the season, he'll be saying sayonara for the second time to the sport that he loves oh so much. So that means we have a very competitive seat in Aston Martin opening up in season 2 of career modes, and that is going to be exciting. Is Felipe Drogovic going to get promoted up? Are we going to have another F2 driver come through? Maybe someone who's been at a lower down team is going to get their chance. Who knows? But can we get some W's in chat for my good friend, Mr. D's, my editor who has been editing all the live stream content that I've been putting out lately. He's been putting in an absolute shift, you know, for the last year, 2 years, but like especially lately, keeping up with the daily uploads. Thank you very much, D's. He is going on holiday today. So hence why I've got no one to edit my video for me, and we're going back to post-commentary for the time being, but I am going to dilly-dally between post-commentary and live commentary going forward. It's just today, I didn't really feel like live streaming. I had to get the video done ASAP. I was at an event yesterday. I went go-karting. It was really good fun. I got to take my car out on track for the second time on a go-karting track, so that was interesting. But yeah, anyway, back to this scenario. We have a very competitive car. However, it is not a very reliable car. We've had 2 DNFs in the first few races of the season. Reliability is on the mind, but so is performance. It's oh so tempting to keep pushing to go for those low-hanging fruits of the front runners now. They seem beatable. They seem mortal now after the Monaco Grand Prix. Go check that out. That was a phenomenal episode in the history of Marduk Motorsport on F1 23. We've gone for a tyre wear upgrade heading into future Grand Prix. So tyre wear we've established is quite brutal on this year's game. Having fresh tyres, keeping them below 20-30% is the new meta. So anything we can do to keep those tyres alive, I think is going to be very important in the context of our competitiveness. So I think tyre wear is going to be super important going forward. A much more important upgrade than what it was previously. Anyway, we are still 5th best car. We've upgraded ever so slightly. McLaren make big inroads heading into this race. Resource points coming in. We did all the Friday practice programs and the quick practice method of doing things, which I think, you know, as always, puts a bit of stress on the engine. So we are going to have to take multiple engine penalties at some point this season. So bear that in mind. But we're going to chance it with a slightly old MGUH. And we'll go from there. Time for qualifying for Spain. All right then, here we are ready for the Spanish Grand Prix in Catalonia, running the new layout now, and it feels incredible. These last 2 corners with F1 23, the new changes to the handling model means the high-speed corners feel absolutely phenomenal, and it's just doubly good with all the changes made. If this is F1 20, it already felt good on F1 22 running the old layout, but now, especially now that we can carry so much more speed, it's amazing. Either way, pace at this early stage doesn't seem to be great. We're running 110 difficulty just like we were in Monaco, but maybe Monaco was a flash in the pan result, as it's not pole position, it's not provisional pole, it's P11. My teammate Liam Lawson, this is really harsh by the way, 2/10 shy of me and is 6 places back in P17. So the last few races consecutively, Liam has actually been closing the gap to me in qualifying, 10th by 10th. Next round, he might only be 1/10 away. So hopefully that'll mean he can get out of Q1 for a change. Considering we are the 5th best car, it is slight letdown that he's getting knocked out in Q1. Yes, he doesn't have the greatest driver ability skill assigned to him in the game. He's been done dirty by Codemasters. But speaking of being done dirty by Codemasters, we get our fair share as we head into Q2 here. We hit go to track. We get given control. But before that, the AI straight up drives us into the Ferrari, and that is qualifying. That's qualifying. We only wanted to do one run at the end of the session. We did want to use a used set of tires because the tire delta was 710. So there's no point even putting in a banker. I wanted to just do the one set of new tires at the end. And we've been absolutely shafted. So we are going to start P16 maximum in this race. Now, there is the little dilemma of engine penalties, which I think I'm going to take. We're really muddled in terms of durability and getting to the end. I'm also going to play the engine penalties realistically, and I'm only going to use the next column over from what we haven't used. And the only thing we can take that's new is the energy store. That'll give us a penalty. So it's better than nothing. It'll still put us at the back. I think we've got a good car to overtake. I think we're going to be really quick in the race. So fingers crossed we can fight back and get some good points with that new energy store.
So many eventful races here in Barcelona over the years. Do you remember Max Verstappen's first win on debut for Red Bull here in 2016? 2 years before, we had the dramatic coming together of Hamilton and Rosberg going towards turn 4. There's always a treat in store as we head back to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and the popular opinion in the paddock is that we never wanted the chicane in the first place. That's now been gone, the final corner is much faster, and at 2.9 miles and 14 turns, we await the Spanish Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Norris, Magnussen, Ocon, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Liam Lawson, Joe, Sargent, Albon, Tsunoda, De Vries, Tsunoda. And now it's time to head down to the track. And a warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Benjamin. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within the team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do. And that has definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
All right, then. It is race time for the Spanish Grand Prix. Last place on the grid. We might as well be starting on the moon here in Spain. If I could have taken more engine penalties ethically, then I would have done so. It's just, I suppose, a reminder for us to use more engine components going forward. But we'll see what the next race is coming up, and I might actually opt to put a new engine in for that race too. So going forward, if we have an absolute stinker at some point, then we can take full-on engine penalties and open up those extra columns of parts that we need. Race strategy, we have a one stop on the cards, but given what I know at the moment with the tires and how important it is to have new tires, I'm thinking about doing a two-stop here, guys. I'm not sure if the game knows how strong its own tires are when they're new. And I'm just playing around with the tire allocation here and just seeing like what the drop-off is in terms of time and making sure we can avoid that drop-off by just rearranging stints. But in the end, I think we're going to go with soft, medium, soft. It seems like the fastest one. Softs seem very strong in races on this year's game, so we'll give it a go.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
I think it makes sense to utilize the softs as much as we can, given that we actually have an abundance of softs that we didn't use in qualifying because we only used one set of tires, and then I think the second new set of tires only ran an out lap before we ran into the back of a Ferrari. So yeah, we got screwed in one sense, but we're hoping to make it up on Sunday with the extra tire stop, the extra tire strategy. We've had a bit of a blunder here on the formation lap. Nick De Vries doesn't know where he's going. He's meant to be on the right-hand side, so we've had to abort the formation lap here. We're going to go again, and hopefully this time we can sort it out. We have, let's get this Grand Prix underway. 5 red lights for the 8th race of this season. And it's an absolute flyer from me, straight up into second gear, and we overtake 3 cars. Make that 4 cars before we even get into turn 1. P16! What an unbelievable start here in the Marduk Motorsport car. We are absolutely flying off the back of momentum from Monaco, and now we're running side by side with our fellow countryman Robert Piastri. Where has that come from? Not sure. Let's roll with it. P16 for us now. We got the inside of Esteban Ocon. Robert. Okay. P15. Liam Lawson is next. And I actually thought I'd be doing a bit of racing with Liam today. I didn't anticipate that we'd be racing him so quickly in this race. He's going to have the inside. And this is a corner you don't really want to run side by side, particularly on the outside. That orange sausage curb on the outside is there waiting to pounce if you make that mistake. Speaking of, that is our first warning of the race. Around the outside we go on our teammate. He's looking for a move on Stroll. And he might actually pull this off. Doesn't get the drive traction required. Stroll hangs on. We try and go around the outside. That opens the door for Mr. Robert there. And no, he doesn't take it. We have to leave him the space, which awkwardly compromises us through these last 2 corners. A bit of an air gap to Lawson now. Hopefully we can get the slingshot in this section of the track. No DRS enabled just yet. But given our high downforce setup this weekend, I think slingshotting out of those last 2 corners isn't out of the equation as we move up to P14. I think we're in for a good race today, guys. We've got a fairly big wing gap between the front and the rear. So we've got I feel like we've got the wings and the setup bang on this weekend. Like, we're able to carry good speed, but we're actually fairly quick in a straight line as well. As we get up the inside of Stroll, finally, we did what our teammate could not, even with the back end loss. That is job done. Norris fighting side by side with Magnussen, and Magnussen prevails. DRS enabled, but not for this straight, unfortunately. Look at that straight line speed. It's absolutely nuts. So we're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting the slingshot run out of the last corner, but then we have the straight line speed as well to match, coupled with a bit of overtake, and we're absolutely flying. Speaking of flying, that was Stroll nearly flying into the back of Lando Norris, who hesitated, who was kind of trying to go round our outside at turn 3. Didn't quite work out. Lap 3, P12, great start for us, up 10 places, and we've taken a fresh energy store for this race. Now, I am a little bit concerned about taking a new engine component, but it's a necessary evil we have to take at some point this season. When you do take new components, there's that small chance that they can fail right off the bat, which is, yeah, a bit scary. Speaking of scary, getting up the inside of Gasly there and nearly dipping a wheel into the grass. Another centimeter over to the left, and we would have spun. Anyway, lap 6, we can see the Haas boys having a bit of a power struggle. It is Magnussen dethroning Hülkenberg as the lead driver, and now we're going to do the exact same thing we did 1 lap ago. Get up the inside of Hülkenberg and leave a little bit more margin to that white line on the left-hand side. Thanks, Ben. Job done. Into the top 10 now. This car is very well set up this weekend. It feels great. There's no setup qualms. It feels nicely balanced. I feel like I've got good pace, which ultimately really helps as well. Magnussen is next, but Hülkenberg putting me under a bit of pressure. He was doing the slingshot on me, forced me to go up into overtake, and I turned defense into attack, all because of Hülkenberg. I wasn't planning on using my battery on that start-finish straight because Magnussen was so far ahead, but then his teammate put me under pressure, so I went up into overtake, and I actually got a move out of that. So that was absolutely unbelievable. The The DRS, the slipstream, it's pretty potent this year, particularly at the back end of straights, and it seems like it's accentuated by the high downforce that we're all running. Because we're running high downforce on the straights, having slipstream is almost twice as strong as what it would be at a low downforce track. It's nuts. Anyway, lap 10, and we are already thinking about a pit stop. So coming in for that undercut, I was going to come in around lap 11 or 12, but the people who started on softs, and the majority of them are behind us, by the way, they are going to be coming in the next couple of laps. So imperative that we get the undercut on them to hopefully get into that next group of cars. Now, that's Charles Leclerc. That looks like an unscheduled stop because he was on hards, and I just had to confirm in Race Director that my eyes weren't playing tricks on me. He was on hards and has boxed after 10 laps. Absolutely mental. So he's gone to mediums, and I'm sure that he has to be going into the pit lane again to get to the end. Meanwhile, bad stop for us. Again, wheel gun jam, and that's just more seconds we are throwing away in this race. Not ideal when we are planning to do a 2-stop. I hope we have it sorted out for the next one, boys, because that is just, it's not good enough this season. That pit stop crew facility perk needs to be upgraded because we're just having too many blunders this season. It's not good enough. Either way, Leclerc moving forward in this race. He overtakes not one, but 2 drivers on the start-finish straight. These guys all on old soft compound tyres. And I think that was Sargent running to the side of Charles Leclerc there. He won't be happy about that. Leclerc now overtakes Albon. Albon fights back into turn 1. But in the end, Leclerc wins out. But yeah, let's talk about strategy for a second. I actually, despite configuring the 2-stop at the start of the race, I was open to the idea of still doing a 1-stop in this race and going soft hards if need be. But I saw the big air gap to the race leaders, and I thought if I do an undercut, like a big undercut, and go onto mediums, like as we've done now, there is a good chance that we can get ourselves in range of the leaders and slipstream them, DRS train them, and get dragged further along past the midfield runners to the point where we box at the end, we're within a pit stop range or attacking range of overtaking them all and getting a better result by the end of the race. So we've taken a risk, we've taken a big risk, but there's a lot of laps in this race, a lot of laps for tyres to wear out and for us to make up the difference with a 2-stop race. And you never know, with red flags, with safety cars, anything is possible. So this is the phase of the Grand Prix where we're going to look quite good on this strategy. We are only a few seconds behind Leclerc, who we've caught by 6.5 seconds, by the way. Teammate is in, and he goes to medium compound tyres. Unfortunate hold there for 2 cars in the fast lane. We're getting an update on Charles Leclerc. He is stopping again, confirmed by Mark. But now the leaders are starting to come in. The other Ferrari of Sainz, we had Hulkenberg come in. Alonso has now come in as well, the hard compound tyres. And this is what I was planning for. Alonso is a top 5 driver, and he has just come out ahead of me on fresh hards. So now hopefully we can stay in the slipstream and DRS and get dragged along by Alonso. In doing so, that will tow us along ahead of Norris. So hopefully now we can build a margin to Norris, to Bottas, and all those behind. Because before the pit stop, we were looking pretty good for P8 anyway, no matter what. So this just gives us a little bit of potential of doing a little bit more in this race. Sergio Perez coming out of the pit lane on fresh hard compound tyres. One of the last to box, by the way. And he gets hit hard, really hard by the undercut from everyone. He's gone from like 3rd to 8th, which is pretty outrageous. But Perez should have pretty good pace to the end, so we'll see what he can do. But look at that slingshot run he gets out of turn 9. That is absolutely ridiculous. We decided to let him go in the end as we want some DRS because we actually just lost it to Alonso. We don't have the pace to keep up with the top 5 runners today. I'd say the pace isn't as good as Monaco, but it's certainly better than the rest of the field. So we'll see if we can just consolidate this position, or dare I say, maybe even move forwards if the AI's tyre wear absolutely capitulates at the back end of this race. Also a good chance of getting fastest lap as well, given that we'll have fresh softs on and pretty much no one else. Apart from Leclerc, we'll have new tyres to put on near the end of the race. But we have Verstappen making a stop on lap 20 from hards. That, again, looks a bit unscheduled from Verstappen. That's actually put him way down the order. That's put him outside the top 10 at this rate. So he as well will have pretty good pace and will be fighting his way back in the final 12 laps of this race. Anyway, my tyres are now dying. It is time to get off these and go on to softs. Norris is now attacking us. I think we're going to box this lap unless Leclerc comes in. Let's have a look. And he is coming in. So it's a late call to stay out because we were going to box there to see if we could undercut Leclerc and actually get ahead of him heading into the final stint. Unfortunately, that plan is now out the window. So what we're going to do now is just stay out a little bit longer and just hold up Norris just for this final lap so that we don't have that tyre drop off in the last 2 or 3 laps with our softs. So this is what we're fighting for. It's P6, P7 in this race. I anticipate that Leclerc might struggle to overtake people as well. So hopefully, oh no, what is going on there? Braking for the pit lane there, heading into the right-hander. We've completely lost the car, and I have an explanation as to why the gameplay suddenly cut away as well. The force of the crash against Norris, unfortunately, shook the wheel massively in my hands, and it meant that I activated the replay button. So much has happened in a short space of time that we were pushing the limits, heading into the pit lane. We broke, and there's some kind of bump right at the moment that we jammed on the brakes, and it sent us straight on at the last corner. We missed the pit wall fencing on the entry to the pit lane, and it sent us straight back out onto the track, into the path of Norris, and he has been the innocent victim in all that. Safety car has been deployed for the debris left at the final corner. It's a high-speed corner, and 2 front wings there is not what you want when you're flying through there. Just way too dangerous to leave that scattered all over the racetrack. So safety car has duly been released onto the circuit, but unfortunately Norris just the innocent party and all that, just wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately. So yeah, this despite it being a major mistake, I wouldn't even say it's a mistake. We just got caught out by a bump that I didn't know was there. Closing speeds are different. The track is a little bit different this year, and that's now something we need to be mindful of going forwards. With races at Spain, don't push the limits too much, otherwise that is going to happen. But with that mistake, it's actually helped our strategy massively in this race. There are 8 laps remaining in this race. There's going to be no tyre drop-off for us. We can go flat out to the end, and the race leaders, everyone is bunched up on old tyres. The only other people in this race who have semi-good tyres are Norris, Leclerc, and Verstappen. They're all on mediums, though. No one else is on softs, and dare I say fresh softs like us. So we've got the softs on that we crashed into the Ferrari in qualifying with. They've only got 3% wear, so thank goodness for that incident in Q2. Otherwise, we partially wouldn't really be in this scenario, would we? But let's see if we can make this work. Safety car is in at the end of this lap. And now we are going to have to go on an absolute charge to get in the points. Only 8 laps to do this. Straight up into overtake. There's a yellow flag, and I'm not too sure what that is about. Oh, it's Norris! Norris right behind! With an engine failure, we go straight up the inside of Nick de Vries. We've got to capitalize because there could be another safety car in this race. Poor Norris, he's had all the bad luck today. I kind of feel less bad about giving him front wing damage because he was going to DNF from the race anyway with that engine failure. Straight up the inside of Albon, and hopefully straight up the inside of our teammate. He doesn't fight that one too hard, thankfully. We're still trying to sneak another couple of positions in case the safety car does get released onto the track once more. This is Verstappen in the Red Bull, trapped behind Yuki Tsunoda. There goes Norris's car. It has been recovered without the intervention of the safety car. Verstappen trying to go around the outside of Tsunoda into this left-hander. We're trying to get the little switchback here. We get the traction, and that is a sneaky little move on Tsunoda. Too worried about his sister teammate in Verstappen. He forgets about us on the inside with a better traction, better tyres, better driver. Out of the last corner. Let's see if we can get Verstappen in one foul swoop here. He gets Joe. That's Red Bull straight line speed proving to be pretty strong. No DRS enabled just yet, but that doesn't stop us from going 3 wide into turn 1. Job done. P14. Verstappen is one of the big threats in this race, albeit from way down in the order, but the fact that we've overtaken him early is massive. Now, we've only got Leclerc really to worry about on fresher medium tyres further up the grid. Everyone else is on old mediums, or even worse, they're on old hards. Old hards is not the place to be in the dying laps of the Spanish Grand Prix when you've been toiling away most of the afternoon on hard tyres through these high-speed corners. Those tyres are going to be knackered at the back end of this race. We are only just getting started. P12 now as we dispatch of Stroll through that middle sector. Next lap now should be DRS enabled, and that's when the overtakes are really going to start to fly. Mercedes up front, they are trying to break away. 1 and 2 at the moment. It looks like they have got this race pretty much etched in stone at this point, trying to go around the outside of Hulkenberg. I've never tried it through here, and we don't try it on this occasion. We've got to play it a little bit safe here. Hulkenberg with a very bad run. Slight nudge of the diffuser as we exit the final corner. But yeah, we finally get him, and now DRS is enabled. He's getting some slipstream off of old mate Robert up there into turn 1. Magnussen getting displaced by Charles Leclerc, who moves up to P8 in this race. 5 laps remaining in this race, and I'm very much looking forward to my first dosage of DRS with the fresh soft compound tyres. But the difference between old and new tyres is absolutely nuts. We don't even need DRS at this point. Up the inside of Piastri, he's got great awareness, and he leaves the door open for us, just like he did to Norris at Canada at the hairpin. And thank you very much. That is another Australian in the points. Well, 1 out, 1 in. But if he plays his cards right, he might be able to follow me through as well. Magnussen next, and that Haas should be easy pickings for us, especially with our new tyres and DRS to boot now. 9th place. Leclerc also gets Bottas, so he's absolutely flying in this race too. Don't discount Leclerc from maybe getting a podium in this race. I think that could be the fringes of what we could get in this Grand Prix. They're only 5-6 seconds up the road, but new tyres is worth an absolute truckload. I can't stress this enough, guys. If you haven't played F1 23, it is not like previous games. The advantage is massive. Conversely, old tyres, you are so slow. You are so helpless. You have to brake so early, you've got no apex speed, you've got nothing to fight with. It is a true game changer this year. It has really changed the dynamic of the racing, the gameplay this year. Despite the lack of changes with my team, the raw gameplay mechanics are a lot different, which is great to see. And that carries over to online as well. So I'm very much looking forward to showcasing the online side of things with you guys. If you guys are just single player watchers, you should watch my F1 Creator Series, because 100% Races is even more suited to strategies like this. Anyway, 3 laps to go. We've got in the DRS of Charles Leclerc, who is getting within range, nearly, of Alonso. This will be the last chance we have to get Leclerc before he gets DRS on Alonso halfway around this lap. So we have to dispatch of him now, and we do, thankfully, with pretty much the last of our battery that we have. 2 laps remaining after this one, and now it is getting spicy. Perez getting overtaken by Carlos Sainz for the podium, final podium place in this race. But yeah, these guys are absolutely struggling now on pace. Alonso is next. If we can bag him before the end of this lap, that'll be great. Then get Perez on the start-finish straight. That'll set us up nicely as a leapfrog to get Carlos Sainz on the last lap. There's a lot going on. We just need to go full send at this point. Strike while the iron is hot before these soft compound tyres start to lose their edge. I mean, we're not setting any purple laps here. We're so engrossed in traffic, we haven't been able to focus on getting that bonus point. It's all been about recovering places and moving up in this race. That's another one up the inside of Alonso into turn 10. And now we're in the top 5. So doing this 2-stop strategy has absolutely paid dividends in this race, guys. We were looking at P8 at best with the 1-stop. Yes, my shenanigans into the pit lane has certainly helped things, but we make our own luck, I suppose. That is another McLaren having some troublesome times in this race. Here is Leclerc coming into the pit lane for a front wing change. Ferrari goes in. Ferrari does not come out of that picture shot. What has happened to Leclerc? Let's rewind the track and see what just happened. He brakes. Oh, he does the same thing as us. He got caught up on the curb, but instead of missing the pit wall, he smacks it straight bang on. Oh, Leclerc, what are you doing, son? His race is done. No points for the Ferrari driver. Leclerc is going to end up doing a 3-stop in this race. No points. That is the most Leclerc/Ferrari thing I've ever seen on this game. I just can't believe it. Penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. We need to get serious. We need to focus up because we've got 2 very important overtakes here to get to the end. Up the inside of Perez. I wasn't expecting that. Neither was Perez. He did see us coming and opened the steering right at the last second to promote us up into 4th place. We said we needed to get Perez on this lap. We've done so. That now leaves Sainz to overtake on this final chance on this DRS straight, because we're heading on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. We have less than 10% battery. The light is flashing. We have the DRS. Massive slipstream on Sainz. We're going to go for it into turn 1. And we're going to make it stick at turn 1. We are on the podium in the Spanish Grand Prix. The fans are going to leave the grandstands in their droves because we have just stolen a podium. We have frauded a podium on the last lap of this Grand Prix. I honestly can't believe how well this strategy has worked for us. New tyres, guys, is the meta on F1 23. Get used to seeing 2-stop races. This isn't exactly a 2-stop kind of track. The pit lane loss was a little bit too much to really make it work. It said this strategy was 9 seconds slower, but it's not 9 seconds slower with a safety car thrown into the mix. Mercedes get a 1-2, but the bigger talking point is the little guys getting a podium again.
Yes, come on, we're on the podium. Good job this weekend. That's a great drive, thank you.
What a race. What a race. Monaco was great, but this one we had to fight for.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I feel consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
What a race. What a popular podium this is going to be. A Mercedes 1-2. Lewis Hamilton back to winning ways. And the new guys getting a podium straight after winning the last race. Backing up that Monaco was not a fluke. What a huge result that was, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that one. Despite the fraudulent behavior midway through that race, we still had to do the business, to dig ourselves out of trouble. We were in 20th place with 8 laps remaining in that race, and we somehow fought back to get a podium. Absolutely unbelievable. Oh, we'll take that. We'll absolutely take that. I'm still like on the fence as to whether that was a genuine mistake or not. Didn't know that bump was there. We were braking. We were pushing the limits for the pit lane. We got caught out by the bump and it sent us straight on. It's not like we intended on crashing into Norris, but that is what happened. He had the engine failure anyway, and his race was largely unaffected. He was going to retire anyway. Drivers standings, I think we move up to P7 in the drivers and P5 in the constructors, and starting to put pressure on Aston Martin. That overtake on Alonso in the end, proving to be very crucial. 2 points in it, and we could be 4th place in the constructors. Best of the rest. Only the top teams lie ahead of us if we could get Aston Martin in the upcoming races. And that's without a second driver really helping me at this stage. There we go, guys. We get some cash flow coming in. Surely soon we're going to get another secondary sponsor. It's only a matter of time. The performances we're putting in have got to be good enough to raise some eyebrows, to get some attention, to get some backing, to help us on our journey to be the best in Formula One. It seems to be going better than expected at this stage. I can't believe it. We're absolutely flying in this career mode. Long may it continue. We're not going to let off the pedal just yet. We're going to keep pushing, keep riding this wave of momentum. We're going to make the car more consistent in terms of durability and being able to stretch components to get to the end of the season. I'm concerned about how many engine penalties we are going to have to take, but that is future me's problem. But aside from that, we will keep developing performance upgrades in the background to hopefully bridge that gap to the top teams and be able to fight them more regularly going forward. But yeah, it's been an unbelievable start. We'll also focus on getting the facilities upgraded as well. So yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. The Spanish Grand Prix changes, I think, have worked. I very much enjoy the new layout that we have. It's certainly provided it was really just a leapfrog for us to be able to fly past people on the straights. Much better than the old chicane, much more flowing, and I enjoy it. I'm not sure what racetrack we've got coming up next, but hopefully it is a good one. I'm thinking either Canada, Austria, something like that. Either way, it's going to be a good track. It's going to be a good video. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for watching. Look away. Look away. Until the next one. I'll see you next time.